leave LA. So I got into my car and I went away to the big estate, playing poker every day, going all in with these fish like I'm at an all-you-can-eat buffet.
What's up, you guys? It's Wolfgang. I'm here at TCH in Dallas, but that's not where I'm having my meetup game. It's going to be in Austin, Wednesday the 13th, TCH. Come play with me. On Thursday, I'll be in a live stream. Hit up TCH Austin if you want to get in that too. And I'll see you guys on the felt. Let's go! Let's go! You better be there.
After playing the largest pot of my life in the last video, we couldn't leave Lubbock without one more shot at a huge session. We hit the campus of Texas Tech and then head over to Hook and Reel for a Cajun shrimp boil, which was delicious. With our stomachs full, we then head back over to Stack's Social Club, where they clearly take pride in making sure all the customers are fully relaxed. Okay, maybe this is a bit too relaxed. We're back in the $5 to $25 streets, looking to run up a stack.
What is up, you guys? Day 2 here at Stacks in Lubbock, Texas. This is by far the longest session I've ever played. You're not going to want to miss this. We get into so many coolers. We played for 11 hours straight, and right at the end, we got into a $4.3 thousand pot. You're not going to want to miss it. Drop a like real quick, subscribe, and let's just get right into the hands. Let's go!
We're in for 1K, and we find ourselves in the first hand looking down at Ace Queen offsuit. It's $5 on the button, and Alex to my right puts in a limp. I raise it up to $20, and Barry, you guys will remember him from the last video. He's here again. He's on my left this time, and he puts in the call, which brings in Alex. So we're going 3 ways to the flop. Flop comes queen 10-9 with 2 clubs. We flop top pair, top kicker, and Alex checks it over to us. Occasionally in these situations, I like to check and leave it up to the person that has position on me to decide what to do. That's not the case this time. I go for a half pot size bet here of $35. Barry's a fun player to play with. He puts in the $35 and the action's back on to Alex. Alex now makes an interesting move and check raises both of us to $135. Against just me, I think this play could be done pretty light, but when Barry also puts in the call, I think it makes him a lot stronger than it seems. Having top pair here and some straight and flush backdoor draws, I think we could be putting in the call occasionally, but with Barry the loose cannon behind us, I'm just not too sure about my prospects in this hand, so I decide to make a fold. Barry puts in the call and they agree to run it out twice with no more action. Lucky for us, we'll see what they had. Sure enough, I made a great fold as Alex flopped the nut straight, king jack offsuit, and Barry had jack 10 for a pair plus straight draw, so we were in pretty bad shape there against Alex. Turn comes the queen of spades, so now our queen pairs up. We would have had tripped. The river comes at 10 of diamonds. We would have boated up and scooped that pot. That's the first board though, and the second board comes ace of diamonds, 7 of spades. We would have ended up chopping it with Alex, but happy with my fold there on the flop. We're going to try to win this next one with ace queen. We have 1,000 in our stack. There's $10 on the button, and middle position straddles it up to $20. There's one call, and now Ursula goes all in for $240. She's on my right, and I think ace queen is a good enough hand here. I've seen people shove all in for worse here in Texas, so I put in the call, and lucky for us, everybody else folds. We're off to a run out. 510 in the pot. The flop comes jack 10 deuce rainbow. Turn comes the 6 of diamonds, and the river comes the 7 of hearts. She turns over ace 7 of diamonds, so she picked up a flush draw on the turn and then rivered us with a pair. I turn over my ace queen in defeat. Nice hand, Ursula. On to the next hand. Next hand, king jack of clubs here from the hijack. The $5 button is on and middle position raises it up to $20. My right puts in the call and I could be going for a 3-bet here, but instead I look to get into a large pot with a good suited hand here like king jack of clubs. I call and Barry to my left calls as well. $90 in the pot. The flop comes king, king, jack, bang! We flop a boat. We have the absolute nuts on this hand as pocket kings is not possible since we have one of the 2 remaining kings. Both middle positions check it over to me and I want to start building a pot here. If someone has a jack or a king, I don't think they're going to be folding for $40. That's what I throw in. Barry gets out of the way and both the other middle position players do as well. Unfortunately for us, when we flop a boat, we're not going to get extra value. That's just how poker goes sometimes. On to the next hand. We then look down at pocket threes, and Alex to my right raises it up to $20. Pocket threes here, we're going to be looking to set mine. I put in the call, which brings in 4 other players. Off to a flop 6 ways, which comes ace 9-3, bang, we flop bottom set. Good news for us when Alex continues to bet here into 5 other players for $35. Looking back at this hand, I think a raise is probably the best option here. There's 4 other players left to act. I think if some have an ace or flush draws, they're going to be paying us off here, and we want to charge them if they have the draws. In the moment though, I play it sneakily and I just throw in the $35. Under the gun comes in for $35 as well, so we're going 3 ways to the turn. Looking for a clean turn, which is not what comes. It comes a 5 of spades. Under the gun checks and Alex checks it over to me. I think the under the gun player is the one most likely to have a flush here, since he just check called the $35 bet. However, when Alex gives up the betting lead, I think he's also worried about the flush and has an ace of some sort. For that reason, I want to go for a bet here and get value against Alex's aces with a strong spade in his hand. If the under the gun player calls here, we're probably going to slow down on the river and expect him to have a flush. I bet out for $125. Under the gun does a chip shuffle before ultimately putting in the call for $125. Not really the situation we're hoping for here, and Alex calls as well. Expecting to be ahead of Alex, but not the under the gun at this point. We're off to a river. River doesn't change too much. It comes to 8 of spades. If we were behind on the turn, we're going to be behind here as well. Under the gun now open jams, but he only has around $120 in his stack. Alex puts in the call as well, and when he doesn't raise here, I don't think he's going to have too strong of a flush, but I'm expecting to have something like 2 pair or a very strong ace. Given the fact there's $600 in the pot, plus the $240 just put in on the river, that's $840. I only have to put in $120 to win $960. I'm getting a great price here, and even though I'm not filled up and I only have bottom set, I stick in the $120, looking to see what the other 2 opponents have. Under the gun, sure enough, shows King 7 of spades. Alex pretty disgusted as well, and he turns over what we did put him on, 6-4 of spades as well. Unfortunately, I couldn't get away from it on the $120 river bet, but like I said, I was just getting a great price, expecting to get shown 1 flush, not expecting to get shown flushes in both spots, but that's how poker goes sometimes. Looking to build up some momentum, we're on to the next hand. $900 in our stack. We look down at pocket 7s from the under the gun position, and I raise it up to $20. Barry on my left 3-bets me to $80, and it folds back around to me, and there's no way in heck here I'm folding pocket 7s for $60 more. A, it's my favorite hand, and B, we're going up against Barry here. If you guys watched the last video, you know how that goes. I put in the call, and we're off to the flop. Flop comes 7, 4 deuce, bang, we flop top set. Fortunately for us, there's 3 hearts on board, but nothing to do here but to check. When he 3-bets us pre-flop, I'm checking my entire range over to Crazy Barry. Barry now ships it all in for around $600. Obviously, I snap call here and we're off to a run out. Turn comes the King of Hearts, which is probably one of the worst cards in the deck. River, though, comes a 4 of clubs, which fills us up. I'm pretty sure I have the best hand here. Barry's reluctant to show, and I'm not going to make him do so. He's a good guy. I turn over my full house. 7's full of 4s. He looks pretty disgusted and ends up turning over pocket 9. So besides pre-flop, he was behind the whole way. Lucky for us, the 9 of diamonds was not a 9 of hearts, but oh well, we filled up on the river, so even in that case, we were going to scoop that pot. $1,200 coming the good guy's way, building some momentum here, and we're on to the next hand, which goes from pocket 7s to pocket queens. We're on the button as well. I put $5 out there. Few limps around to me, and I pop it up to $30 total. 2 players want to see a flop, which comes queen 10 deuce, bang, we flop top set again. When the action checks over to me here, I think we need to be going for a bet somewhere around $30 to $50. We got to charge the draws like king jack, jack 9, and the club draws, since we don't have the queen of clubs in our hand because it's on the board. I didn't have the same opinion this night though. I check it behind, and we see the 6 of clubs on the turn. The big blind now bets out for $50 into the $90 pot, which gets rid of the hijack, but the action's back onto me, and having top set here, I don't really think there's too much to be worried about other than the front door flush draw that now got there. For that reason, I pop him up to $110. He goes all in for $210, and once we raise him on the turn, we're not going to be folding for around $100 more. I put in the call. 10 of spades is the perfect card for us on the river, which makes us fill up. We're not worried about the flush anymore. I show my full house, queens full of 10s. He mucks his cards, and we're going to be taking down that $510 pot. Back-to-back rivered full houses. We're feeling pretty good about the momentum we're building so far. $1,600 in our stack. We look down at 4-5 of clubs. $5 on the button, and Barry straddles it to $10. There's 2 calls, and I put in the call as well. Going 4 ways to the flop here in a $40 pot comes 7, 6, 3, bang, we flop a straight. What is going on here? 3 consecutive bangs. I know you guys love that. Drop a bang right now down in the comment. Maybe I'll make some merch when I'm done with this road trip for you guys. Pretty draw heavy board here. We do have the straight, but we have to be worried about 8, 9 and the diamond draws. So I lead out here for $30 into the $40 pot, and Barry puts in the call. Turn pairs the 3. It comes the 3 of spades, but I prefer it being the 3 of spades rather than like the 8, 9 or 10 of diamonds. I'm not going to slow down here. I bet out for $85. Barry's not done with the hand just yet. He puts in the call as well, and we're off to a $270 river. If the turn was bad, the river is atrocious. It comes a 6 of spades. Now there's 2 pairs on the board. Anyone with a 3 or a 6 in their hand will now have our flop straight beat. For that reason, I check it over to Barry. Lucky for us though, Barry has one of the hands that we're not afraid of, Queen 7 of hearts, so he only has 2 pair. But it's the 7 that's paired, not the 6s or 3s. For that reason, our flop straight holds up, and we're going to take down that $270 pot. Next hand of note, we look down at pocket 5s from the hijack. My right raises it up to $20, and I put in the call looking to flop a set. Flop comes 8-7-6 with 2 hearts. We have an open-ended straight draw and an underpair to the board. Opponent checks it over to me, and when he gives up the betting lead and we have an open-ended straight draw and a pair, I think a bet here is fine. That's what I do for $35, and he puts in the call. Turn comes a 3 of spades, which doesn't change too much. When he calls us on the flop and checks it over to us on the turn, I think we could be betting again. With 3 cards over us and some potential straight draws, I decide to check behind and look for a clean river. River comes a 5 of clubs, which is interesting because we river a set. It is a 4-liner to the 8 high straight. Any hand containing a 4 in it, like 6-4, 7-4, 8-4, 3-4, something like that, will now have us beat. Middle position, now donk leads into us for $90 into the $115 pot. When the front door heart draw misses and we make a set on the river, if he has a 4 or a 9 in his hand, he's going to have to prove it to us. For that reason, I toss in 1 black chip, indicating a call. Sure enough, the opponent turns over King 4 of hearts, which makes sense considering the fact he had the heart draw on the flop and turn as well. He's going to take down this nearly $295 pot. We then look down at pocket jacks. The under the gun limps for $10, and my right raises it up to $65. With a premium hand here like pocket jacks, I think playing it passively is a huge mistake. I 3-bet him here to $200. Folds back around to the player on my right who isn't done with the hand just yet. He puts in the additional $135 and we're off to a flop. Flop comes queen, jack 3, bang, we flop middle set. 2 diamonds on board, we have the jack of diamonds in our hand. The opponent only has around $20 left. We put them all in and he obviously calls. Turn comes the deuce of clubs and the river comes a 10 of clubs. We turn over our pocket jacks, middle set, expecting to be good when the front door flush draw misses. Not really too worried about the backdoor clubs, but apparently we should have been worried when he turns over ace 8 of clubs, so we raised that up to $65 pre. Then he called $200 and ended up going runner, turn river clubs, and we even had all the board pairing outs as well. Any 3, queen, jack, or another deuce on the river would have given us the best hand. After feeling like I'm gonna puke in that last hand, we rebuy for $500 more and then get blessed by looking down at pocket kings, the Cowboys here in West Texas. Lucky for us, there's $25 on the button and one person puts in the call. Same logic as the last hand, I raise it up to $125 and we get 3 callers. So we're going 4 ways to the flop here in a nearly $500 pot. What do you guys say when you have pocket kings and there's an ace on the flop? It seems like it's every single time. Ace jack 4 is the flop. We do have the king of hearts in our hand and the action checks around. Turn now pairs the ace, making it less likely that an opponent has one. It comes the ace of clubs. Action checks to me again. I decide to check as well. I don't think there's a point in betting here. The only thing we're going to get called by is heart draws and opponents that have an ace in their hand. I think a jack is going to fold at this point. So when I check, the other opponents do as well, and we see a 10 of spades on the river. After 2 streets of no action, middle position now decides to bet out for $100. Maybe he thinks a jack or a 10 is good in this situation, so with pocket kings here, I decide to put in the call. Sure enough, that's what he was value betting on the river. He just didn't assume anyone with an ace would have checked both streets. I put in the call, and we're going to scoop down that nearly $700 pot with our pocket kings on a very, very scary board. We then look down at ace-king offsuit on the button. We put in the $5 on the button, and there's a few limps to the middle position. He decides to go for a hefty raise here of $65. And then even more strange is the player to my right in the cutoff. He puts in the cold call for $65 as well. Even though this $65 raise is very large compared to the $5 that the other opponents were putting in prior to his raise, I still think we need to be going for the 3-bet here. I make it $330. Not expecting too many folds from the guy who put in $65, and that's exactly what happens when he sticks in $330. The guy in between us though, the guy in the cutoff, he finds a fold going heads up in position to a flop. Looking for an ace or king high board, but that's not what we get when it comes 8-6-6 rainbow. Opponent checks it over to me, and I think we should be going for a c-bet here, somewhere around $250 to $300, representing all the overpairs in my range. Since he just flat called my 3-bet pre-flop and he didn't 4-bet, I think it's unlikely he'll have aces or kings, even more unlikely because I do hold a blocker to both of those cards. But in the moment, I decided to give up the betting lead and check behind. Lucky for us though, the ace of spades peels off on the turn. If it has any of those hands like kings through jacks, we just sucked out on him here and he checks it over to us. I'm not one to shy away from criticizing myself when I make a bad play, and that's what I do here when I check behind. The reason why I think it's a bad play is because the opponent still has a good amount of chips in his stack, and if he has a hand like pocket kings or pocket queens, even though the ace peels off on the turn, I think he'll still be putting in one more small bet of $250 or $300. I think my logic in the moment was that when I check back the flop, when the ace comes on the turn, it's going to smash my range. Ace king is going to check back the flop occasionally because they didn't make a hand and they're scared of going against pocket kings, pocket queens, stuff like that. So when the ace of spades comes off on the turn, I check behind and we're off to the 6 of hearts on the river, giving us a full house, 6s full of aces. Opponent checks it over to me, and now we're chopping against any ace. He has around $700 left in his stack. There's $750 in the pot. I decided to put him to a test and shove all in for $700 effective. Another bad bet here, I think, in my opinion. If he has a hand like kings or queens, we probably should just bet small here and have him pay us off for a small bet. And sure enough, he does show pocket queens and then folds face up in our face. I pretty much butchered this hand. Let me know down in the comments if you think I played it good for some reason, or you can confirm my suspicions and say, yo Wolf, you played like trash. And now to those of you that have stuck this far, this is definitely the hand of the night. I teased it in the intro. We look down at pocket fours. The $5 is on the button. There's also a $10 and $20 straddle on, and middle position now opens it up to $60. There's 3 calls over to me. Let me repeat that one more time. It's 5, 10, 20, or raise to 60, 3 callers, and the action's on to me. I'm friends with a buddy that you guys might know as Rampage Poker, and his favorite hand is pocket fours. We're stuck pretty good in the session at the moment, and with that many callers in front of us, we only have to put in $60. We want to set mine here. If we flop a set, it's gonna be juicy, and the player to my left puts in the call as well. So going 6 ways to the flop in a $360 pot. Please, dealer, one time, put a 4 out there, put an ace out there. I don't care what it is, just at least put a 4 out there. The flop comes ace, king, 4. Bang! We flop bottom set. So many draws on this board. Any Broadway cards are going to have a draw or a pair. Obviously, ace king is perfect for us, and the diamond draw is out there. What is life? The action checks around to the initial raiser, who makes it $150 into the $360 pot. The guy to my right puts in 6 green chips. That's a call, and the action's back onto me. Okay, I butchered the last hand pretty bad. I'm not going to butcher it this time. I raise it up to $400. I think this is an amazing raise because of what I said prior. There's a flush draw out there. There's the Broadway cards that could have straight draw potentials. Plus, I just want to build a pot. I have $2,000 in my stack, and if we want to get stacks in, we have to raise now. I make it $400. The initial raiser thinks about it for a little while before ultimately putting in the $250 more. The guy to my right cuts out a lot of green chips before ultimately folding. We weren't scared of anything though. We're willing to get it in here on the flop. But now we're going heads up to the turn in a $1,300 pot, which comes to 8 of spades, a perfect card. The dealer's on our side here. No queen, no jack, no 10, no diamond. Life is amazing. With $1,300 in the pot here, we need to bet large and charge all the draws and the made hands that he might have in his range. For that reason, I decide on a bet of $675. Just over half the size of the pot, but it sets up nicely for a river jam. If he has a hand like ace king or a diamond draw, I don't expect him to fold just yet. He then says something amazing that we definitely were looking forward to hear. He says, if you have a set of 4s, you're good.
If you got a set of 4s, you're good. I'm all in.
And then I'm all in. Obviously, I make the snap call here. Not going to be nit rolling him at all. I snap call and say, yes, I do have pocket 4s. We're in a $4,200 pot, and I'm going to nice guy, I just turn over my pocket fours right away since he pretty much called my hand. He doesn't show his cards though, so I don't really know what we need to fade, but the 10 of hearts on the river only completes queen jack, but I don't think he's going to be ripping it in there on the turn. No diamond, no ace, no king. That's perfect for us, and we're going to take down this $4,200 pot when he mucks his cards face down. Really happy how I played this session. It was 11 hours long, and I was stuck almost $1,500 at the peak of my losses, but I kept rebuying, topping up my stack, and get rewarded here when we flop bottom set. The opponent claims that he had top 2, so ace king, and even though you're flopping sets and straights, you're still losing and you're card dead for 10 hours, and then bang, in the last hand of the night, right before you said you had one more orbit left to play, you flop bottom set, he flops top 2, and you get the full double up for $4,200.
What an absolute crazy session, you guys. We got into the game for 1,000, but then we added on for 2,500. By far the most I've ever added on in a session. We played for 11 hours, got out for 3,900. Profit of $400 on this session because of that pocket fours bottom set that held. Let's go. Drop a like on this video. Subscribe if you're new. Leave a comment down below. Good luck on the felt as always, and I'll catch you guys in the next video, probably from Midland, Kojaks. You're not going to want to miss it. Peace.
Thanks for watching to the end of my video. Click my head below to subscribe and stay in the loop. See you next time.